Hey everybody, this is the third video in my series, A Christian Case Against Donald Trump. And these first videos are all preliminary. I'm just answering questions here that I know people are going to be asking me all the way through. I set up a playlist on YouTube for all the videos in this series, so I'm hoping that new people will start at the beginning and listen through. So I want to answer these questions right off the bat so that they aren't just like hanging over the conversation, like distracting from the argument when I actually start making my case against Trump. So along those lines, I want to let you know that my next couple of talks after this one are going to be highly controversial, I know. They're going to be all about abortion. That's the issue that I get asked about more than any other in the comments. So I'm going to deal with it in depth before I go deep into my case against Donald Trump. So you can keep an eye out for those videos in the next few days. But today, I'm answering an easier question that I get asked a lot in the comments. And that question is something like, why aren't you making a case against Joe Biden? Or why are you singling out Trump and ignoring Biden? I even get accused of being a hypocrite sometimes because I'm not applying the same standard to Joe Biden as I am to Donald Trump. And I know that like right here is where I'm supposed to say, and that's a great question. But honestly, it's a little hard to say that because I don't think most of the people who've asked that question meant it sincerely. I know I haven't seen all of the comments, but the tone of the question is usually a dead giveaway. But it is a good question if you're asking because you really want to understand me better. So I'll answer the question for those of you who sincerely want to know. Why don't I criticize Joe Biden the way that I criticize Donald Trump? It's probably surprising to people who know that I was a lifelong conservative Republican before Donald Trump. So it boils down to the fact that I think that question is based on a false equivalency. I hear a lot of Christians make a certain kind of rhetorical move when they're defending Donald Trump, and I think it's pretty sick and it's very disingenuous. The argument that they make goes something like this. Well, nobody's perfect. Why are you judging Donald Trump? Joe Biden has his faults too. Judge not, that you be not judged. And I find that to be a silly argument, especially coming from people who support a man whose whole brand is hatred for anyone who opposes him. If there's one thing that I haven't seen from Christians who support Trump, it's a lack of judgmentalism. But without being judgmental, we do all make judgments every day. Isn't good judgment like a part of being an adult? Now, Jesus did warn us about judging others unfairly, and he said that the measure that we use to judge others will be applied to us. And I get that, and I accept that, especially as somebody who pastored churches and who preached for 20 years. I've always known that if I use my position to throw stones, I can expect to have my own words and behavior judged in the same way. For instance, that's why I made a video recently explaining why I don't call Donald Trump the Antichrist. I was getting a lot of comments calling Trump that very thing, and I didn't want to stoke that kind of language against him. I mean, even as I warn people about him, I don't want to go over the edge into dehumanization, and I don't want to feed like the darkest fears and the darkest impulses of the people who are listening to me. But I am making these videos for a reason. I see Donald Trump as a major threat to our nation, to the world, to the Christians that he's been able to seduce into thinking that he's going to fight for them. And there's simply no equivalency between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. I view Biden as like a normal politician, as a guy that I'm going to agree with sometimes and disagree with sometimes. But I don't view Biden as a threat to the things that I care about, as much as like Fox News and Newsmax and a few of the commenters on this channel want me to. Joe Biden has taken some positions that I might disagree with, but he's not trying to destroy the very system that would allow us to vote him out of office if we don't like the direction that he's going. So here's one example. I don't like the way that Biden handled our pullout from Afghanistan. I think that it might be the worst chapter in his presidency. Now, I do understand that Trump left him little choice but to pull out. And I understand that Trump bragged about pulling out so many troops before he left office that Biden would have no choice but to either pull out the rest for their safety or make the unpopular move of sending in more troops so we could protect the ones who were still there. But even with that, nonetheless, I mean, it does look to my uneducated eye that Joe Biden botched that pullout. And I don't give him a pass for that. But that's normal stuff. Every president faces difficult decisions, life and death decisions, and they're going to get some of them wrong. And hopefully they'll learn from those decisions. But I do have a fundamental belief that the lens that Joe Biden uses for making those decisions is about what's best for the United States. And Trump shows us through his words and his actions every day that the lens he uses to see the world isn't what's best for the United States, but what's best for Donald Trump. That's a huge difference. So yeah, I could do a series of videos about the things Biden could do better or policy disagreements that I have with him, but why? I'm making these videos because Donald Trump poses a grave threat to the nation, to the world, and to the Christians that he's trying to seduce into electing him again. So if this election were between Joe Biden and a normal Republican like Liz Cheney, for instance, I wouldn't be making a case against Liz Cheney. I'd probably spend a lot more time playing that guitar back there, and I'd go back to just ignoring politics as much as I could. I mean, I honestly hate politics. I especially hate partisan politics. And I hope Trump is defeated in November so I can go back to thinking more about the sorts of things that make me a lot happier than thinking about him. But this is the world that we're living in right now. So I'll be speaking out about Donald Trump until he and his people are defeated. So I've said before that I was a conservative Republican my whole life until Donald Trump. But I don't have the luxury of thinking in terms of liberal or conservative as long as one candidate for president is trying to destroy our whole system. So to the people who think that I'm biased because I'm building a Christian case against Donald Trump, I just want to ask you honestly, who is more biased? The person who's been a Republican their whole life and continues to support whichever candidate the Republican Party puts forward, no matter how dangerous they are, or the person who's been a Republican his whole life, but looked at Donald Trump like I did and said, no. I mean, where's the bias in that? My lifelong bias would have been to support the Republican. I'm going against my bias to do this work. So here's the best way that I can answer the question. Why don't you criticize Joe Biden if you're criticizing Donald Trump? Say I'm a firefighter and I'm responding to a burning apartment building. My entire focus is going to be on doing my part to put out that fire and to get people to safety. I just can't let myself get distracted by some guy across the street who's maybe carrying a gas can and a lighter and yelling at me because I'm ignoring a cat that's stuck in a tree a few blocks away. So I'm going to keep doing my part to put out the fire until it's out. And I'm glad that there's a lot of other people who are doing the same thing. So thanks for listening.